It is my conviction that conversation can change the world. All right, I wrote a book called The Courage to Speak Up, and the subtitle is Getting Your Hairballs Out. Does anybody not know, does everybody know what a hairball is?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so your cats get them out, right? Anne does this very well for me. I don't know if you want to do it now.
I can demonstrate.
Okay. Thank you. She's better at it. So I'm going to toss this around the room, and you're welcome to play with it. All right. So what happened was I learned how to talk and realize what I was feeling by sitting at the computer at night. I was writing all the time, in journal writing, about all my mixed feelings, my emotions, and my needs. And my cat was always on top of the computer. So what happened was, I realized my cat was much calmer than I was, you know. And then I saw him, you know, getting his hairballs out, and then it was fine. So I thought, I just get out what is going on with me, and then I'm relieved. What a concept. And then I noticed that the cat got along with the other cats. Instead of they'd have a cat fight, and then they'd just sit together like, no big deal. What happened then was I had a problem. I became a compulsive overeater, and I had to lose 100 pounds to feel comfortable at all. And this is me at one point in my life. And it was a very painful time. I couldn't stop eating. I ate all the time. And I tried diets and fasts and, you know, jogging and therapy and 12-step programs. Nothing worked. I was really despairing. So what evolved out of this was I realized that I was holding everything in. I was congested. I was stuck. I was like, really, like, what's going on here? I'm carrying a lot of weight. And I realized I was holding everything in. I wasn't saying what I felt. I wasn't even letting myself know what I needed. And so I started saying what I thought, what I felt, what I needed to myself in front of the refrigerator, to the 2 or 3 voices in my head. And I found out that, you know, hairballs are more than just hairballs, because sometimes the one voice would go, well, I'm really hungry, I want to eat some more. And the other voice would say, wait a minute, let's calm down here a little bit. Let's see what's really going on. So I started dropping weight, and I realized, boy, this is bigger than just with me. This is like the world is full of hairballs. I mean, does anybody in the room? Oh yeah, this is what happened, you know, during the process. So great. This is so great. So yeah, well, everybody relates. What's that about? This is what happens when you hold in your hairball. 33 million Americans are now living single, from a book by Eric Kleinberg. There's a lot more isolation than we realize. We have technology, but we really aren't connecting, not in a way that we really need to. We, the people, have got to create a connection to make it safe for ourselves. So my point is that from my own process of losing weight and telling the truth to myself and other people, I realized that this is a bigger issue than just with my body. It's the whole body of the world. And so by holding things in, we damage ourselves physically and emotionally. I think we all know that. Bad backs, migraines. I'm not saying they're always from holding things in, but we know that constipation, what else am I forgetting? Bad, illness, a lot of things come from holding things in. And, sometimes you get fired from a job because you're not saying things, and you don't say things because you don't want to get fired. So, this is like another great example of the isolation that happens when we shut down. Because we don't want our marriages to break up, so we shut down, or we act like we're happy when we're not, and then we could feel that between each other. So then we don't connect as well. I'm fine. I'm really doing, it's like, doesn't feel like that. So we're not, the power of the people and our personal empowerment comes a lot from our truth. This is what happened when I started to really get out the hairball. You can see that I've lost some weight by now. So that was 100 pounds I lost, about between 80 and 100. But the dark side of it was that, there was the whole world there was torture and attack and war, and there are all these things going on the planet, but nobody wanted to talk about it. In our culture, nobody dies, nothing bad happens. And so I found some people didn't like me very well because I was actually talking about what was going on. So now here's an example of our culture, which is we separate from each other. Again, we move away from conversations, from difficult conversations, because we're prejudiced, or we're critical, or we're gossiping. Everybody loves to gossip because my belief is it's really, really frightening to be direct with each other. I was out last night getting ready for the talk, and I ran into someone that sat down next to me, and I became really tense because I thought, I'm uncomfortable around this person, and I'm doing this talk, so I'm going to have to say something. So I said, I really like you, you're really smart, but when you start lecturing me, I go away. And I said, I'm doing this talk, and I have to talk to you about this so we can create a different place between us. Which it worked out okay, but some of the challenges of speaking up are, of course, rejection, conflict, more separation. We don't want to lose our jobs. We don't want to lose our marriages. We don't want to lose our friendships. This is another typical scenario, which is, it's not so much that these people are assholes. No. That could be part of it. This is what we do a lot when we think nobody will notice if we just shun each other. We'll just pretend we don't see each other at a cocktail party, right? Has anybody ever had that experience? And so, it's like, well, I'm just going to detach. I'll just walk the other way. I don't know you very well, so. We were friends for 5 years, but now we're not speaking, so it's all fine. And so then this is the other thing that probably we've all been through, which is you've got one person that's shutting down and the other one's trying to talk about it, right? So how many people have had that experience? Oh, you two especially. No, I'm sorry. Thank you. So that breaks up the fabric of our society and our community. It's not just, oh, let's have communication in California. It's bigger than that. We do it for our bodies, but we do it to create a different planet. We really need to talk to each other to create a fabric between us. So it's very important to make sure you're able to be vulnerable at times. And you don't always have to be fine. You can sometimes, but I had a friend this week say, well, it's not that easy. I told somebody last week that, they said, how are you? And he said, I'm not good. 2 friends died last month, and I'm just really feeling weird. And he said, well, my friend said to me, boy, you're just a bundle of fun tonight, aren't you? So it's not, you have to risk some rejection to be yourself. This is kind of what we have now throughout the planet, right? We have fighting. We're not only fighting all the time, religious wars, wars between countries, building drones, or trying to get rid of guns or getting more guns, but we're always busy fighting. And I think, my conviction is conversation can change the world. If people would sit down and hear each other, it might be really difficult, but people are really deeply real inside at some level, and it's always rooted in fear. We're all afraid, and that's why we're fighting. Fighting is just a defense on top of fear. This is the way the world is kind of looking now. There are a lot of hairballs going on out there, and this is the possibility, is getting this out. And you know, it's up to each of us. And that's the trick here, is we all think, oh, this is a great concept, it'll never happen. But if we do it in little ways in our daily lives, and this is a difficult thing to do. This is very, very tricky. When I finished that conversation with my friend last night, I was just like, oh my God, I'm afraid. I said to him, you know, did I hurt your feelings? Because I just feel tense around you because you lecture me. I experience being lectured around you a lot. And he said, oh my God, I'm so glad you've been honest, because I teach communication and I don't ever feel like I get connected to people. So I got real lucky. That was last night. It's not always so easy. But it worked out, and that's what we all have to do, is keep that connection going. Because otherwise we're breaking the ground upon which we live on this planet. How to speak up, I broke it down into two simple things. One is the eyes, the two eyeballs on the head is all you have to remember. When you're in a stressful situation and it's a difficult conversation and you're starting to sweat because you're not sure how to do it, just think about eyes. The first eye is intention. So that might be something like, you know, I'd really like to get along. It's been 3 years, you're my sister, could we talk to each other? Or it might be my intention is, you know, I'd like to be able to go out for dinner and feel more relaxed. And that would be your intention. So you're setting up something positive. And the next eye, that's fine, is the I need or the I wish. And those are just really positive, you know? Like what I said to this man last night is, I just wish that I felt more comfortable around you because you're obviously extremely interesting. And I said, I can't believe it. I feel better after this brief conversation. And I really did. I felt, so both of us did. I said, you know, when I see you again now downtown or somewhere, I'm going to feel much different. So this is what happens when we finally, it's in the little ways every day. And this is what the trick is. When you have this moment and you're at the post office or you're on the phone and you know this is a person, I'm kind of just starting to tighten up around this person and I just want to get the heck out of here. In that little moment, you can change the world just by saying your first truth first. And that first truth might be, you know, I get tense around you, or, you know, I've felt like maybe we should talk, or I just really want to feel better around you. And then this can happen. What happens is when you talk to yourself effectively, and because it all has to be within you and between you and then on the planet, that we all start connecting again and bridging gaps. This is where you end up going with yourself when you talk to yourself wonderfully and lovingly. And you say, I like myself just the way I am, or else I want to work on this about me, but I love myself. And then that's, of course, when you start to love other people, too. So the conversation has to be inside as well as outside. And this is our last piece, and this is the piece that we can accomplish in the world by speaking up. It is my contention and my conviction that conversation can change the world. Yeah.
Thank you, Katie. Do we have any questions for Katie? You want to stand here? Any questions, comments? To approach someone who might be really angry or a blaming type of person?
Okay, so the question is, how do you deal with somebody who's blaming and angry? Thank you. And a continual response to that, usually if you talk to your friends behind somebody's back, is, oh, it's not worth it, why bother, I don't want to rock the boat, this person's always blaming, I'm not going to go there again, right? Everybody knows that, that's true. My conviction is you still have to have the courage, and that's why this is called the courage to speak up. It's still your responsibility to try to have that conversation respectfully. Because other people aren't going to do it for you. This is the evolution of the species. We are in fight or flight, so we have to start changing the limbic brain and moving toward. Does that answer the question? Thanks. Great.
I know that you're speaking a lot of the power of the word. Do you ever experience putting out like positive intentions for yourself? Like saying it out loud to put it out in the universe, just to empower yourself?
I think that that's absolutely fabulous. Intention and putting out what you want in the world, using the word to speak about your vision of what you'd like to have happen, absolutely. And that's the same thing as intention. You're saying your intention. Yeah. Anything else?
Can you speak more about speaking out in the work environment with the consequences that are there?
Well, in the work environment, thanks, Chris. Well, my belief is that in a job or at work, the times that I haven't spoken up, I got fired anyway. Because, that's my whole thing, is that the energy that is between us is still the energy that's between us. So if there's tension and you're not saying hello in the morning, it's unlikely you're going to keep that job. And so that's my belief. Does that answer the question?
And then we've got Katie after too, so we welcome you guys to stick around and ask her and pick her brain, and that's what she's here for, everybody. So